Hey, it's John. How's it going? I recorded a video the other day and then lost it, and I wanted to go ahead and do this again. There are two significant threats to revival that I want to hit on right now, and these are serious, and a lot of people, I believe, are going to relate to these. The first one is a belief in fate, and then the second one is it's regarding the prophetic call to reformation, and this one might be a little surprising to you what this is looking like. But let's talk about fate real quick. Fate would say that if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not, it's not. And so, in regard to revival, if we find ourselves taking a wait-and-see approach, where we're just waiting back to see if, little sparks of fire are actually going to last and if they're going to grow, and then if it is, then we'll jump on board. If it's not, then we won't. We have to be really careful about that, because revival launches through the significant work of a body of people that come together. Of course, it's the upper room strategy. And and you think about it this way, revival is simply biblical normalcy. So there's no way that God doesn't want revival to break out. He wants it. He wants us to live a biblically normal life. There are over 19,000 cities in the nation, right? And none of them in revival. And so are we all as a nation just taking a wait-and-see approach to see when God's going to do all the work and show up in revival? Well, I hope it sounds silly to you now to think of it that way. God wants revival, and then you attach to that the prophecies and the different things that have been spoken that are just hardcore, amazing, very, very clear. Well, then it's clear that God wants to break out even in a unique way here in Detroit. But the way He has set it up in His wisdom, He flows through people. So we have to be the ones to initiate and to facilitate. You think about a campfire. Have you ever went camping and just waited for a campfire to simply spontaneously combust? Or have you started a little campfire and just waited there, sat next to it, waiting for it to grow all by itself? Well, it doesn't work. We have to tend to the fire. So a belief in fate will seal our fate of having no revival at all in Detroit. We have to get together on a city level. We can't be so consumed by our own little endeavors and our own little lives. We've got to get together. We've got to build the fire. Absolutely have to. It's a serious issue. I believe, and I've preached this for 20 years. I believe that we could be in revival in let's say 30 days if we would just get our act together. I've been teaching that for 20 years. If we do this, if we get our act together, or I don't want to put a time frame to it. Maybe it's 6 months. Maybe let's say a year. If we get our act together, we could be in revival in a year. But if we believe in fate, well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not, it's not. Well, then it's not. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing, real quick, is a misunderstanding of the call to reformation. A lot of people, most people would think that when we're talking about reformation in the church, that it's the dry, dusty, dead churches that are going to awaken and catch up with the rest of us. That's kind of the mindset. It's like, well, of course, we're tracking well. We're where we need to be, and so everyone else needs to catch up to us. And we got to be careful. It's a kind of an arrogant position to be in. I believe this. I believe that the call to reformation is coming first to the most fiery, spirit-driven, prayer-fueled churches, like Revival Church, like my own church. I believe reformation's coming to these types of churches first, because God's raising up forerunner ministries that are going to adopt this extreme reform and are going to lead the way to establish this new wineskin, this new model. And so this typical, go to church on Sunday and let's have some worship and some teaching, a little altar time, and that's the extent of church as we know it. Develop some relationships, do some good things, say a few prayers. That's not where we need to be. And that's almost every church in the nation is built on that model. And so we've got to get ready for reformation. If you're a fiery, life-giving, burning church, get ready to embrace extreme that will cost you extreme reform that will cost you everything. I mean, listen, the revival that's coming, the reform that's coming is threatening. It's not coming to enhance our churches. It's coming to crush everything that's contrary to God's new design. It doesn't mean that what we've been doing is necessarily bad or that we've missed it or whatever. It's that God's going to crush everything that is not in the plans for this next model, even if they were in the plans for the previous model. And so it's a serious deal. So God's going to be doing this. He's going to be rearranging so much, and we need these forerunner churches to embrace the Reformation. We're moving. There's so much that's coming. I know I have confidence on part of it. There's a whole bunch, of course, that I don't know even what that's going to look like. But I know we're moving from a local mindset to a regional mindset. I just see local churches losing strength, a lot of strength, very, very fast, if they don't minimize their individual local vision and give way to the more demanding, important, urgent regional mission. That's one of the things. That's a very, very significant thing. And I think back to when I was invited to participate in a big event at the Palace at Auburn Hills where the Detroit Pistons play, and they actually had to cancel the event because the churches wouldn't cancel their local services on a Wednesday night for the sake of the greater city mission. And so that is a big, big issue right there. The 24/7 church is emerging. That's a big issue right there, where God's going to be doing that, bringing that type of reformation to where we're not going to be Sunday driven, but we're going to be 24/7, literally in church most every day of the week, responding to apostolic instruction and all of these kinds of things. When I say in church, I don't mean the local church necessarily. I mean involved in the city church, in the mission. And I'm not going to get into all the details on that. I've shared that before. So we've got a lot of that going on. We're going to be prayer fueled again, meaning we're not saying a prayer as the service launches, but the service itself is a prayer meeting. We're going to be seeing that happen. But listen, it's costly. A lot of people are going to leave churches, and this revival and reformation that's coming is not going to result, probably, I hope it does, but probably not going to result in immediate growth. It's going to probably result in immediate contraction, in immediate loss, because the bar is being raised, the challenge is stronger, and the number of people that are really ready to go for it is not that many. I believe we're going to, when the cross is really introduced again and the cost of living for Christ is introduced again, I think we're going to see, a lot of people that even have a false salvation. We're going to see them starting to make decisions, unfortunately, away from the call to the cross. And so a lot of these things are going to be going on, but we've got to have leaders that have the guts to lose it all for the sake of reformation. So reformation is not coming to the dry churches, the dead churches first. It's coming to the most fiery churches. So those are the two issues: a belief in fate, where we can't just guess and hope and think that things are just going to happen all by themselves. We have to be the ones to initiate, facilitate, and then, of course, what I just discussed, this issue of reformation in the church. So we'd love to know what you think about this, and we will talk to you soon.